everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Annalise, a project manager here at the Venture Center, and today I'm joined by Ben Harrison of Fair Market, and we're going to learn more about him and his business today. So Ben, it's so nice to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good. Okay, so let's jump into Fair Market. You were founded in 2019. Why did you open Fair Market?
Well, I was farming at the time. Actually, I was in my 5th year as an urban farmer, and I was really thinking about food access. I was going to the farmers market, and we were trying some experimental payment models. We were doing pay what you can at the market, but it wasn't a good place to implement those kinds of things. So I was starting to think about community ownership of the food system. And I didn't start everything at once. I wanted to do the market aspect first and then start doing some organizing in the community to bring them into the market. So that's really kind of the original kernel of Fair Market.
I'm super interested in being a part of Fair Market. How do I get started? What services do you offer?
Yeah, so we source produce, meat, flour, all kinds of local foods from about 35 to 40 local farmers, ranchers, and food businesses. And those are all available at our website. It's fairmarketlr.com. And you can just jump on there and start looking at what we have, add it to your cart. If you're a first-time shopper, we have a discount. I don't know how easy that code is to find, but it's fair_well. So if you use that code at the checkout, you can get $15 off your order, your first order of $50 or more. But essentially, we operate out of a cold storage facility. So our produce is never out on a table for 2-3 days. It's always kept near freezing temperatures, so it's super fresh. In our cooler, our meat is frozen. We have fresh bread every Wednesday from Serenity Farm Bread. We have fresh milk every Wednesday from Ozark Mountain Creamery. So you can just place an order. If we have a slot available, we have same-day delivery. So you can just have it brought right to your door. We have a 3-hour window between placing your order and getting it delivered.
Okay. So let's say I have meat that I want to give you. How does that partnership happen?
You mean if you're a rancher?
Yeah, and I've got meat to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Right now, we work with 3 ranchers, so we get most of our chicken. We get all of our chicken from Bradford Valley Farm in Damascus, Arkansas. So it's maybe 15 minutes north of Conway.
Before you started Fair Market, what was it like maybe day to day being an urban farmer?
Well, I mean, I was doing that part-time. I was also a full-time student, and I had a part-time job outside of farming. So, it might look like 1 week of 10 hours of, planting lettuce seeds in a tray and then doing dirt work out. My farm was over by the governor's mansion on maybe an eighth of an acre, 16th of an acre. So fairly small. But I could walk off my porch and start farming. I was literally right there next to my growing space. But in the spring, it might be, okay, I've got a pest. I've got cabbage worms in my turnips or whatever. So I've got to take care of that. When you're a small, really, really, really small farmer, and you're in your 4th year, you've still got quite a bit to learn. So, and there are some equipment hurdles that can be difficult to overcome. So that's a big reason I'm doing community-owned urban farming at the moment.
Mhm.
so that we can handle some of those large equipment purchases together. So it kind of eases the burden on the farmer.
Yeah. So, okay, so prior to Fair Market, you were just farming. Did you grow up farming, or where did the love for this come from?
No, I mean my father. I come from a third century heritage farm in Missouri.
Okay.
That's my, 320-acre split down the middle by a highway. Half of it is corn and soybeans, very traditional. The other half is cattle and
Mhm.
fishing ponds, and then a farmhouse in the middle. And I think the gardening and back to the land kind of movement was thriving when I was in my early 20s, and I started gardening maybe when I was 25. I
Mhm.
started a little garden, and
Mhm.
my dog dug the entire garden out. So my first year was a pretty big failure, but
Just trying to help.
yeah, it just kind of slowly grew. I was getting more and more into food activism and things as I got going. I took a trip to Detroit, which is a very, very urban agriculture oriented city, especially in some of those low resource black communities. So there's a lot of black farmers that are out there doing some really interesting stuff. Some people that are out farming as a group. So I thought that was really inspiring and heartwarming. So pretty much everywhere I go, I would like to see that. You know,
Well, so farming and gardening is hard work. What's been your favorite thing to, I guess, garden or farm? Is there one?
my favorite thing as a farmer,
Yeah.
I think
Did you grow
probably
well?
almost. I think every farmer just likes to see their crops come to fruition. You see your in my case it's my yard, right? But in a lot of cases it's the field, and so you're going to get a good harvest, and
Mhm.
the mythology of the harvest moon and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you opened in 2019, and then a year later, we have a pandemic that hits. Did you face any challenges during that time?
I don't know because we weren't open before the pandemic. We opened April 2020, right after they were, closing schools, and everybody didn't want to, delivery services were booming.
Yeah.
So I really can't tell you with any data. I can just say intuitively, I think it was a good time for us to,
Mhm.
start interacting with the people in Little Rock who are really passionate about local food. Um, yeah, so I think so.
Yeah. Um, like you said, I think a lot of people in Little Rock are becoming passionate and more passionate with local food. I know I'm trying to support more businesses that use locally grown products or food. And um, so, what's a day-to-day routine like for you?
Oh my gosh, it's nonstop. It's never the same, except that it's just super crazy from when I wake up until I go to bed.
Yeah. You
Um,
like that it's so kind of not every day is different.
uh, I kind of would like some routine, and I've been hustling with Fair Market for over a year. It definitely has made me tired at times, like exhausted, tired. It's difficult when you're doing things on your own. I have friends, and then part-time employees who come in at times to help me out, especially if I'm gonna leave town for a couple of weeks or something. But yeah, so I'll wake up. I go to the warehouse. We cut off orders at 3 p.m. and I try to have all of our orders packed by 4, and then we do deliveries from 4 to 8. Like tonight, I I have an event, so I have somebody helping me do deliveries, so that's nice. But when that's over, I'll be, you know, blogging or working on the website or handling ad metrics or
Yeah.
doing emails or any number of tasks, inventory orders for wholesale orders, because I'll be driving up on a route Wednesday really early in the morning until, just an 8-hour route. So it's long hours. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
So Ben is a part of our Spark cohort this fall, and we're super excited to have him. Ben, how did you discover us, the Venture Center, and how did you discover Spark?
Really by accident. So in fall 2018, it was like right before school was about to start. So I was trying to prepare my capstone project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Dr. Pierce at the EIT department. I was getting a degree in information science, so I wanted to build a e-commerce website for my farm. I wasn't thinking about selling. I wasn't thinking anything about this, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing of the sort. So my professor, she was encouraging me to go to the Venture Center, and like I knew what you guys. I knew where you were. I didn't know what you were exactly, but I thought I was going to get maybe some support, like sort of mentorship to write the code for the website. But instead, I sat down with Scott Schellebarger and I was getting business mentorship. And I was like, oh, this is totally different. And he was giving me some ideas that I wasn't thinking about. So it became really a lot bigger than me, selling produce from my farm in my immediate community. He was encouraging me to get into the Delta I Fund that winter. And so I did. And we went through that 3 months accelerator course. And we were able to do some things, learn some things. And from there, we got involved with Innovate Arkansas. And from there, we got funded for the first time. So it was kind of boom, 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 all in about 8 months. Yeah.
Nice. Well, what do you hope to gain from Spark this year?
I'm really hoping to gain some meaningful connections with mentors, potential investors, definitely marketing advice that's been going on for the last couple of weeks, and I think this week too. So that's pretty valuable to me as somebody who, I can take good pictures and post them, but there's a lot more to marketing than that. And I've been doing a lot of that by myself for a long time, just intuitively at a kind of really quick pace. Yeah. So I'm really glad to be learning some of that.
Are you there at work, or are you there at your house?
I'm at my house. Yeah. So I live at a house that's. Sorry.
I was going to see if you could give us a little tour.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it's related to my work. There's a workshop behind my house where a lot of folks in the community get together and build beehives and chicken coops. And there's Urban Food Loop has their composting operation back here, and there's a chicken coop and there's a tractor. So
big tractor.
There's a lot of agricultural related stuff, but it's very community oriented. So they build their beehives and then they go out and put them in people's yards, and it's kind of a partnership where the person who holds the hive gets some honey and then they sell the rest of the honey. So nice. They're finding interesting ways to do agriculture in more places, I think. So
I love it.
And that's Arkansas.
Yeah, everything is intertwined and everything works together. So
yeah.
Where do you hope Fair Market is in the next 5 years?
Let's see, 5 years would be 2026. Well, I think one of the big reasons that I started Fair Market was because I thought the community ownership model, which is part of our partnership with Sprout, I think that that's going to be a very powerful alternative to the market trends that are destroying the planet. So by 2026, I'm hoping that we're a national brand, or at least a very large regional brand, because 2030 is our cutoff for, doing anything about climate change. So we really need to act very quickly.
Talk to us about Sprout. What is Sprout?
So Sprout originally was my urban farming company. I was just doing that by myself, and I was experimenting with different pricing models and experimenting with um, cooperation amongst other small growers. So we would go together, or one of us would go to the market and we would sell produce for everyone, doing some different things like that. Um, but when I started doing fair market, I stopped farming because it was just I didn't have enough time. So I instead though I went to the Bowen School of Law, and they have a program where the Kim Vu Din, she's the head of the department, I believe. She'll take 2 students and they'll work with local businesses to help them draft, bylaws or founding documents and things like that to help them make sure they're legally, ready to operate. So I was really interested in turning Sprout into a consumer co-op, which means it would be owned by the customers. And so that's what I did, and they helped me write those bylaws. And so now we're doing some work around starting a community-owned farm. We have a space in South End. There's a high tunnel. We planted lettuce and mustard greens, and we're about to buy some more seeds. And I really only started organizing in mid-July, and we have about 15 paying members now. And so those members will get 10% off and free delivery at Fair Market. And Fair Market members also are members of the co-op, and it's kind of a revolving door. But the co-op, it's not profit oriented. It's not focused on earning a profit, so they can sell the produce at cost to the members. That's our model at the moment. It's still experimental. But we made apple butter and apple pie filling. That was one of our early experiments to sell half price to members and to sell full price outside of there. And then Fair Market is, we were accepted into a USDA pilot program to accept SNAP online only, which has been one of the last kind of phases of them bringing their EBT options online. So if the co-op is doing half off, which is at cost, and we're doing half off, then that's 75% off on local food. So I think it's going to be a real viable alternative to food deserts and convenience stores and that kind of food system. And the cooperative model statistically is the most successful solution to a food desert. So private companies fail half the time. Government operations fail 40% of the time, but not cooperatives. At the time of the study that I read, they were 100% still in operation. So.
Well, I love that you're accessible to everyone. I think that says a lot about Fair Market.
It's fair, hopefully.
What advice would you give to someone, maybe not necessarily a gardener or a farmer, but someone in this industry, local produce or things like that, someone wanting to start their own business? What advice would you give them?
My advice would be that if you're not going to center your business in the community, and I don't mean pie contests and stuff like that. I mean right. Really community led, community, giving your community some sort of ownership, and your business might financially succeed, but inevitably it's going to collapse just because of the way that our climate is headed and what that's going to do to our economy and things like that. So I think the best bet is rooting yourself in the community.
Well, Ben, do you have any other information or comments, thoughts that you want to share with our audience? Maybe where to find you?
Yeah, fairmarketlr.com. If you're more curious about Sprout, the website for that is sproutlr.com. If you have any questions for me, my email is benjamin@fairmarketlr.com.
Well, Ben, thanks for joining me today. I've really enjoyed spending the last 20 or so minutes getting to know more about you and Fair Market, and I can't wait to see what all you continue to do for our community. So again, thank you. So
Yeah, thank you.